Andra ultimate say yes and yasem keto akra games ahodo na ekọ so e club world cup nti be wura mu nyina na ya mu analysis ni ade this South American teams no omomodin bo no ye den ekọ so a na say ekọ so a konkan ni ade a me no ka say the African contingent obia ba fie omunyina obia ba fie ultimate say Sundowns penalty minya victory ba ko mebo a omo maka ni nyina draw alinya draw mienu no lose ba ko na work de ultimate say yes obe wake pa obia heden ahye no 3 teams ni nyina obia but omo nya enough money a omo team ba ba ye den wa be show mo team ni mo kana na say ye who the level of the African game we still need to improve in terms of the technology aspect, you know. I will say the improve coaching aspect, I will say improve now for talent wise Africa is say Europeans, you know, Africans players yeah no e mo ebo ma no mo dey share see if say most of the players who root in Africa had there, then we need to improve African players no say na be ya o menyo opportunity esi akan na you could face your ma otimi say mu atimi ayeden ayem remember atimi dia ma the next 4 years you be hwe a team say betimi agina mu dia ma Africa you be hwe na ye African contingent dia na course wa anko yi na African teams no bia e ba fie afi uko Argentina omu teams no so ekofie Boca Juniors and River Plate omu ekofie do Boca Junior River Plate for na start ye pa Boca Juniors o se o hye yi for no New Zealand team no want to me and show mom board draw say they don't have any business so want to me share team like that Auckland City for no say okofie nti River Plate for so no ekofie e ho honom nti ebedi mu enkomo now Europeans na so ma qualify no ye be hwe ni mu say bibia betima ko it appears say all the Brazilian teams you know a qualify mboa from Neze ballroom Sasso na Botafogo ballroom na Palmeiras and so ayeden aborum 3 teams no be qualify kwa the name honoma anya asem keto akra ti bedi hu nkomo na de wo mu bia etimi ede amount transfer news ni so anya asem keto akra sinsan na teams na wodo na sinsan ultimate say enye easy ti be rura transfers nim na afi nkomo e wo nyina yetumi ene wadi na bibia etimi akonkan show no live uko Facebook MYBET na what in temu kakra now the Africa no MYBET na what in temu now the Africa no atoa so e wo Facebook and afi ukopie mu e wo other Facebook handle now street is watching afi ABN Radio 1 ABN Radio 1 and so stream wo honoma uko YouTube so a MYBET.AFRICA TV and one say no na ya tro da screen so no ti obo a edo be call bomodin a say subscription no ye ni age ho pa mo subscribe mo ngo so an subscribe a na nyama entumi den enkoyi e ho no afi ba bia ye di dwa no black market ho no ehia asem keto akra ti mu say ye first ka wo papa Telegram account no bomodin na borrow mo Telegram account no Sports Arena SPORTS na watentemu na the ARENA na wa join na afi bibia so no etimi akoyi TikTok so no sports.arena.news na wa join e wona afi bibia so etimi akonkan e wono uza for my bet ene yeguso ani omo ye den ehwebo mo isanse my bet na wudi a o message text message say wadi an nti bomade an ko na kokoyi usika hanya nkrofobia wudi a no mpese mo delete account na kra de fi we no so phone so no my bet de wudi pe o message text message na fi bibia tumi akonka abejafo aye krado ye men ko mo chen fast quickly na fi ni misa omo my bet education ye be ram na fi ya hwe money man bibia kama de
bibia kama
ya yen hwe my bet education no na fi koma kan nyina yefa emre etifo
okay yechia etifo na say ne so masan ba be join ne yen e ba be hwe show make sure say kwan bia so mutimi face na be face card dia MYBET.AFRICA ntene on register at www.MYBET.AFRICA on platform ni bia fefe top right corner obehu icon na circle ni green umia so a registration wo Ubo registration is where 3 simple steps: phone number, username, and our password. Phone number near number of the mobile money transactions. Ubo shema na afide wabo username. Bet me your nickname. Bet me your fee din be a person we use to be a. Ubo shema na the password na sanka ho. Na afide wabo registration is so. There be more who say waba became busuano. You must send verification code. Now they are verified account and no one no waba became busuano. My bet me nyama bebre. I bet me their fiscal. Inti any bet builder options ewo ho. You say FIFA Club World Cup games na course na day. Yabo games na 4. We open long bet and now pay we sikakesia 4 games no intimi mouse kakesia. This a bet builder options. Ho and a 1 game ema 10 options. Into 4 games na course no. Bet me up to 40 options ah. Ebema usika ni mo edu. Usika ni munzu yedu dia. Eba ko jina akabu no sa my bet dey ma. Omo ma 1500% ahead of every other betting company bia. The amount kese mpo 1000. Into my bet for the 500% e ka ho a. Ebema usika ni mo edu. Into ucha no na wo fiscal MYBET.AFRICA. Nti ene join ni na register na so run platform no. Na ye selections ba ko mienu na so fiscal MYBET.AFRICA.
Right, nti MYBET komo na egusu a ye di no. Yes, but what they are na joining abusuako na bibia so yen de enkoye. Yen hwe eye Club World Cup games no.
Yeah.
Before I be we yen hwe African contingent no. Dien na mai we come short because yen nyina hu say Brazilian teams no dominate the most share European teams no. They are going toe to toe with the European teams. Africa Diana ye lucky ya entumi ama ya anye de ye entumi at least ba kokura entumi and the next stage of the competition.
Yes, I think we share African contingents no more call this FIFA Club World Cup. Na performance no be expected at least baby abako na me no bet me rim. Say who's a Brazilian clubs 4 mo call tournament we. E move 4 ni na kwa kura, that is a round of 16 na. A good thing for the South American Federation. Say they are having their clubs performing so well. Which African contingents they will be more groups omuko PM no nyame nim no kwani na emboa. Obi te work ni group ogo PM no only the likes of Manchester City and Juventus and we ayin and an team I memfa say na performance no end so but work performance or done you know against the likes of consider now the goal difference -5 Juventus echi share no Manchester City echi share na ababe a problem. Mamelodi Sundowns send to me one of the most impressive team from the African continent. Only the likes of Dortmund, Ulsan FC, Utiminya win, Utiminya draw, and then they would lose against Dortmund. Only Dortmund game or boy, yeah. It was in a different level. Performance never sure. It was 1 or 2 mistakes pen across your man. In Utiminya draw against Dortmund and they would have even maybe qualified or something. But on performance they went into the games playing like the Europeans. Ube who say no mo pie about attacking football, about more than power making sure say omutimi share goals. African contingents no omutimi dey a lot of goals to opponent atinema mebo mabaso. The next one Esperance onunsu call toe to toe with the likes of Chelsea mo and Flamingo mo nya win onunsu nya win against LAFC onun na the second African country timinya a win as 2 million and they are available for win on also etimi febi. The disappointing me ye pa Ali because social Ali group ko PM a Palmeiras, Inter Miami, Porto. Now group obi enim say Porto na better first. But her Porto performance in this FIFA Club World Cup and they were the only team mpo no Ali etimi then enya 1.3 no or any Inter Miami. We share the first game of ball against Inter Miami. Everything was written saying case we win this game no. Even with a penalty or Munya no. So they were one of the disappointing teams for me. Mamelodi Sundowns, Esperance and Bomomode. I didn't have African contingents. Performance in this FIFA Club World Cup needs me and Kuni Nimia 1. Our style of play are bono. Any the Europeans need different. Even though say any Brazilians we play more of a physical football. But her teams are this competition from Africa. Ali, the North African side. We hear workers something similar. Mamelodi Sundowns and Esperance. So unya North African countries stray. Don't give you that physical and like complete football and say Africa football. The likes of Soba, West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, more on physical football, no more mass high level. And the southern side of Africa, that's Mamelodi Sundowns. Almost because of their history or they having the name of playing like the Brazilians, they want to slow the ball. Almost a normal tiki-taka type of football. Though say Africa had good contingents in this tournament, but they didn't really bring out what we know about African countries. Who's the Brazilians who have physical, they are how defensively they are good. You who the Argentinians, the way I'm using physicality, and then even before the show, now make us say we River Plate to red card to me. That is their culture. But the representatives of Africa, they couldn't represent that African culture and him say they play good football, they try to be defensively solid and use a lot of energy in games. But I think in the next 4 years we are hoping we could see more representatives that will represent the culture and also the football style of African countries.
Yeah, Listo. I think with the African football and the European football and South American football, no, I mean, clear. We all know the clear indications of how Sani Manina is it. To be very honest, Ucheke the FIFA Club World Cup history. There's one African club will have a lot more of participation, and anytime especially you can say compare African football to the European football in South America. Okay, let's even free the intercontinental club football. Now you fanco as in international football in the World Cup. African countries do not send Nigeria World Cup, but say they call the winners of the normal and also the international World Cup countries in the Bona. Omo maji do na we the South Americans na Europeans energy. Anya Brazil na ye Germany. Anya Germany ye France, anya France Argentina. And these teams have been dominating the world football. In fact, they've been doing the football for a very long time, and the business wise and talent what we are seeing now be now one if you let's check the number of people are imagine the Ballon d'Or, the best players in the world. How many Africans? And they even put them through the podium. I also the silver, and I also the bronze. I also the third, and I watch bronze. I'm through the podium, first, second, third. Apart from Georgia, who else? Then when we talk of NABM, a friend saying Samuel Eto'o, but here the Ballon d'Or winners are. In fact, the last 20 Ballon d'Or winners from Messi, Ronaldo, Benzema, Luka Modric, players are they are from South America and no for Europe. So in terms of the football and Kasankasano, in fact, who check the FIFA club, the World Cup, Ghana you could do quarterfinals. Yeah, they're the only African country. I get it so close. But then, I know the Ghana compare the other European countries FIFA under 17 World Cup. Ghana are just saying 2 times. I stand to be corrected. The under 20 World Cup. Yaji, the only African country Yaji. But now let's ask ourselves. The under 17 and under 20 Ghana for now omoji that tournament no. Omo progress net is the same. Omo upbringing net is the same. There was under 20 Mikel Obi, Tony Cruz winning. But you see, they try as much as possible to keep the core of the team. And look at the 3 Lions of England. The England for players on Kwaji down at 17 World Cup. Almost 80 or 60% of them are currently with the national team. So football no abroad list to omotiasi pan. And then Uba Ghana I see a part of a House of Okwaji Cup, Confederation Cup, one of the biggest clubs in Africa, and they in-house design across graphics crowd. So we cannot compete with them. So there is a reason why the FIFA Club World Cup, Ali, Enya, that one are participating more, but don't call final that. In fact, only 2 African countries and about the FIFA Club World Cup, about final. So in the FIFA Club World Cup, if African countries say Kwakuba, you shouldn't even expect say the African countries do final. Just Raja Casablanca, any TP Mazembe, and then the only African clubs are Ometimi about FIFA Club World Cup na boa Omanko could do final. Ali, someone might say it's a Ali and Koya there, but in fact, Ali Nangsang the record in the FIFA Club World Cup and it's saying. And in fact, teams are qualified to the round of 16 now. Teams are free continents are about the FIFA Club World Cup the South Americans and the Europeans. Now, so the participation pillar no to so I mean on say tournament last time when man be church say FIFA eba be che 1 billion ska be chairman clubs in terms of participation any sporting performance fees ni no there or the ba be shimtin say also be checking na me na to so yes nti out of the 1 billion any amoba be che edema teams no ebi elko for a big as a participation fee. And a bit of the nano money man bet you say, oh, in a match, you have a mount, $2 million. Over drawing amount, $1 billion, a move $525. A call for participation fee. Once Uber tournament, Ubenya participation fee. Then, as now withdraws, and the number of games are Uber winning, and some was cap. And then it's any money that Mitchell say it comes with a year. Send a Europe are more coefficient in San man. Are more criteria and teams are until it's over here. Teams are more Europe. The participation fee per club ranges from $12.81 million USD to $38.19 million USD. So this is on say 38 million asterisk that one. And no come some clubs because say Europe now anything means Real Madrid but the money Real Madrid benyan the fact say money in Europe you don't get that participation fee. And a more center like commercial and it's animal and it's teams of other continental also second in terms of participation fee or budget can say about South America I'm about budget 15.21 million USD dollars. So in that fact it means that some team Europe no our budget between that 12.8 might even take less than teams are or more South America. So looking at these permutations and appeal, it tells you that the two continents, Europe and South America, countries are imagine the FIFA Club World Cup, imagine them all. These two continents, FIFA Club, these two. So it tells you how important and how potent they are, especially in such competition. And they also North Central America and the Caribbean. Amunya 9.55 million USD dollars. Asia Fobenya 9.55 million USD dollars. And Africa Sobenya 9.55 million USD. Ntina kwa say the Africans, the Asia for the North and Central America, the Caribbean for no. Ye nyina no, omo ye nyina just same money. But now, if somebody is going to say, oh, we are expecting any club to at least go far, me was going to be early because in recent times they've been getting participation. I'm gonna the African country I'm gonna participate in the FIFA Club World Cup. But then anytime I'm gonna do final. Just Raja Casablanca and TP Mazembe for pay and it's me boy do that level no. Now, but I think that the African countries a step in the right direction for them. Medicanca say the kind of project the Europeans and South Americans for no Africans need to me end because of how scouting in players and how it produces talents. If you check the number of talents Africans here produce, we have a lot of talents, but most of them they all grew up early days in Europe. Obi say Didier Drogba at age 4 and call France. Yet he was playing for Cote d'Ivoire. But in his football development in France. In almost Papa Matassa, players from Senegal, players from Cote d'Ivoire, all these friends of Francophone countries. But they all grew up in France because football development in Europe and South America very good. And in fact, the reason why I think that when Mekaka about Todd Boyle, Chelsea, the blue coat for no, more consultant. Some say finally they want to make another bid for AS Sporting CP4 team. About how the Portuguese for no. They serve as a liaison between the South American players and the Omon, especially the number of players are passing through the Portugal from either Argentina and Brazil. So to me, I think that the money none of the African countries and it's me a record a single victory apart from Mamelodi Sundowns, and even Crampono.
Esperance.
Yes, Esperance win here. But to me, if your group in the I think say Ali now at least almost stand a chance.
Yes.
Because to me, when I saw the group A, Palmares, maybe I underrated them, but in fact, we shouldn't underrate any South America and European club as far as the FIFA Club World Cup is concerned. Omune 2 continents winning ball, but then Palmares, Inter Miami, FC Porto, at least with Ali, how they've been consistent in the FIFA Club World Cup, how they've been dominating the African scene. I was expecting at least
we a different format. This you just meet but when you have opportunity, say you are playing 3 games group phase.
Yeah.
So you need to manage how you are going to progress from the group. You don't necessarily have to beat everybody to qualify. For is it a bad planning? Because group na woman, you know, say okay, maybe a Dortmund and a year an European side maybe some more quality near the was so you are looking at Dortmund, say okay, we need Dortmund now team Ben and make me ashamed because this group you need 4 points.
Yeah.
If you are able to get the 4 points, the possibilities of qualify then was so okay, I can beat be a Hosen, right? Into Michelle Noah. Now I need to draw with another team. Your approach and everything will show. Say indeed, this is what you want to do. To be honest, Esperance or Chelsea group, or Flamingo group, or Los Angeles group. So Esperance, you know, say you can't beat Chelsea. At least Chelsea the other number 20. Now, Flamingo, Africa, South American side. Okay, or no Chelsea. Make me be a Flamingo and make me try some in a draw. Now I have to beat Los Angeles, right? If I beat Los Angeles, now I will say Michia Flamingo. My approach to the game, I will say different. So yes, maybe in terms of players near there, who the 2 skills, so I be South American funny produce players. But on the day you have a group to manage. I think that the management of the group and a teams in
yes.
Because look at Sundowns for instance. We need the first game against
FC we Osin for no
what's your first? So you know say you need a draw
against Dortmund.
Against Dortmund or Fluminense. Now you've what's your Dortmund? What's your first goal? Now then you are passing from the back. This has nothing to do with players that develop Africa and I say we in game management now was say players who say was see who you say ya first go. Now yen can tunchum. You make sure say a low block. Na we say at the end of the day say bibia ya draw, you draw ya qualify. They didn't do any of these things. Ali Usha all the chances you had, all the chances. I'm not sure say you need South Africa produces some level of players before you be able to score.
At the end of the day, match now, whether you decide to manage the game like this, the players on the field, no.
But sometimes me feel say
some
of
the teams,
the
quality.
Echo said they are going to exhibit.
They just want there to show say we can play, not a plan to qualify.
No, but
no.
Against Dortmund, they were trying to
it's
impress.
That is almost style of play.
You see the style of play. Your Botafogo against Paris Saint-Germain.
So what they realize say you to me it's you making sure you have plan.
Botafogo for no. The thing is, their teams are obviously Brentford and even in the Premier League. Their teams are whether they are meeting Crystal Palace, omubo low block, low block. But you see, Mamelodi Sundowns for me. And I mentioned whether we want to so Kushia Dortmund, omubo low block now best sound formation. That formation now best sound. Maybe it's not known to who and here they are players near familiar with. And you know Benzo Maresca Kushia, a friend is saying Flamingo or then so experimenter Ebuka. So maybe the Mahun say. Who check it and America say the African countries, despite the fact say oh my earlier you say in recent times whether they understand the format and they understand the format. That's why I made mention about the FIFA World Cup ranks the African countries. The last time,
But in terms of group, in terms of group, where people qualify from the group.
World Cup near World Cup. Look at the way the African countries struggle to manage group.
Yeah, they don't manage group well.
Because starting from the countries.
You see, also, me question I can say. You are talking about group management, but group management, and your players now they manage the game.
No, but that is
the players.
That is where tactically you go into games.
And tactically, your coaches are they better than those?
But they have their
a tournament. And don't tell me say Mamelodi Sundowns no tournament. The players and the coaches, they don't know say if they go or they all want to go, but the thing is, we approach these teams don't bad. They also have approach.
Say football.
Yes.
The easiest way.
So it could be say whatever we are even suggesting for them. Can be abysmal.
No.
No, it should be. Yet me can say
for example, Ali ni Inter Miami in the first half. Obi o share game ni hu say in case Ali team share 3 goals.
But you see, also share 3 goals. It's not the players. What wasted chances? That is what I'm talking about.
In the second half,
it all comes to the quality of the players.
In the second half, the same quality players came in the second half and they were outplayed. Inter Miami outplayed them in the second half.
That is why I'm talking about the quality, because at the every moment game management, every players not the on game. Game management is about players and how we play.
My fans say team like Ahilala, Utumi Hudi, Real Madrid to a draw. I feel say they could have even won the game. Is a quality. It is not quality.
But
the plan.
I allow quality.
Me ode yenfa are into 10. But Botafogo ne
Flamingo.
Yeah, Paris Saint-Germain. But Botafogo were talent saying, were quality saying. Yeah, Paris Saint-Germain.
No.
They went in with a plan say. And go forward. Yet to me
and you see.
But Oshe, Mamelodi Sundowns Subai against there be o. Say one your ball. Yam goalkeeper yama pass. Now who body akum. Who body akum. And he said, "Oh, pass it from the back." And he had show. Which it's how to
no, it's passing from the back. No, it was more like overconfident.
2 goals. 2 goals.
One shiny player and
2 goals.
2
goals. Nina, more de my opponent. Me ko amotumi ade. Atumi anya the first goal. What I'm saying is say we simply don't have a plan they call a competition. Mu say, okay, this is our plan now. We into me. Maybe a Ghana na abeka say ye ba bebo a won say central for nka say okay we dey into me no but we dey you betumi dey ahye no say ye call World Cup back yes Portugal dey e be dey say you betumi ahye mo but South Korea ne Uruguay last game there or say at least getumi nya dey etumi nya draw ye call game no nya penalty clear penalty o say ye hye unya hye one now ono na wo so ba beti who defend ye pon aye we ye ko 2010 obi enum ye performance ye too many teams in more. What we did was that ye polo block bo ye nya ye ba ko bi to ma. This is the plan I'm talking about, and the time now ye nya sa plan no look at where we got to. But as ye ko game ni mu say time I was a slow game na ye pese ye impress player bi pese o dane no player bi pese o twen player bi pese o ye we. That is the problem.
Yeah, so as I'm concluding, I think that for it will be very long say if it's not competing. Maybe can count the history of the tournament, which is African countries, young say you call any intercontinental tournament because the quality no Andrew or more. Whether we can manage the games or we cannot manage the games, all comes to the tactical awareness and we go give them. As we were talking about Botafogo, the players are on the ball that game no. They defended very well, but at that moment, the counter-attacking football no more, and that player now she gonna they say Oba Nottingham Forest no. He took the individual brilliance, but I think that the African countries they shouldn't be so ashamed, especially with the Mamelodi Sundowns say being able to get 4 points from the tournament there. I mean if in Komutimi putting in much effort Kakrabia committing a run of 16, but then they are coming home with the bag. Because all these teams initially getting the nod to participate in Ubiaji 9.5 a year, 9.55 million USD dollars, and again Omo mutimi winning and Ali apart from the 9.55 million US dollars no or draw too. So obenya $2 million and so it's me at the account. When you also talk about a year to my the Esperance de Tunis or also winning one game that is another 2 million. I also at the back account here if you lose to Chelsea, you lose to Flamingo and also Mamelodi Sundowns and also winning one a draw one. So that is 2 million for the win against Ulsan HD and I need 1 million from the draw on a Fluminense. And so a boy, so what they count 9.55 nights on almost be 13 or 12.55 okay, and then with that, any winning one game cry or no lose two. So if and then against Al Ain, I think that they should end a year or more campaign on a very high note. Al Ain here, team Bia, I think that on in fact, Al Ain in the tournament they haven't scored a goal. They haven't scored a goal in the tournament, and Omar conceded 11 goals. So I expect with that, with that for say at least they can win against Al Ain, stacking some money, normal from referee. And these 4 teams, I'm expecting them, say especially those competing the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation. In fact, in their domestic leagues, they should be able to take it by storm because right now you have the cash to buy the best players from teams that compete in the South African League, in the Egyptian League, and in Tunisian League, and you have that money a bit in the ato, especially in the CAF Champions League and Confederation Cup. You have money to spend on. So I think that it's a blessing in disguise for them. The Omania experience, they've had the experience on my board because all these teams on by, they are not the clubs are more Africa. Like I say, in the history of the FIFA Club World Cup, no more rich history apart from TP Mazembe and Raja Casablanca. When can say they are the only African teams are me about Aquakudu final of the FIFA Club World Cup, and the new one now, how this necessity they should learn something from it. I know that almost sporting directors, their owners will also make relationship. The connections and relationship with other clubs or more Europe, South America for them. Just to do this, it's an opportunity for them to expand and do more as a football club in Africa. And I know that Ali Eyetima, they should be doing better. In fact, for the past 10 years, no more previously they are the best team in Africa. And going to a year, who team in earlier, you should be able to beat them and go. So I think that it's quite disappointing, but then I think that a step in the right direction for them, especially this Ghana Omenyano, they can use it to do a lot more of development. Almost be to me, they are about Omeni.
Well, to me, I think in terms of coaching technology, near there a lot they need to ensure that I'm upgrade Sanya money yes, Ali top coaches, but then you need a total department or technology, some softwares because it's a football no. What the Europeans and the South America, I think say MYBET to target you South American for no. It appears and a tournament they came with rely on the quality of players and how mature these players are. Ali also the quality and mature players because these are players on board national team. The goalkeeper for Ali, the first choice goalkeeper for Egypt. Trezeguet no ball penalty say no. Player Egypt bobo and now Ujinambi. They have a lot of players in there. Aludien Omunyina national team players. So they will have to improve. Just going in for the cash alone is not enough because at the end of the day, the more you progress going forward, the more you get a lot of money. So if you have a chance to get a lot of money, you don't say oh the area mama na you okay. You go there as an African and I think the black players now teams are way dominating with the black players. Now they are able to match up with the Europeans and the South Americans. So you can see North African teams in our performance when they meet the Europeans and also Egypt are AFCON be brave. But in terms of teams more than World Cup
Egypt na first team or qualified the World Cup, and one of the few countries who qualified the World Cup first. But in terms of some World Cup or they don't show it. Maybe nanu ya na Morocco for etumi ya the eba be rem, but na Cameroon, Ghana, look at Senegal. Oh, Senegal, Ghana, Cameroon, Nigeria. When they go for this tournament, clearly said they are competing. Qualify free group near there. But Egypt now need Tunisia. Just nanu ya Morocco for one bed it will be better or money. Apart from that, ultimately Charlie, North African teams nanka so mo ye we omo ntumi mo money. But almost the dominate here West African and Central African teams no omo ntumi omo. So I think that, and look at TP Mazembe. The first time on Borem they were able to get to what
final.
The finals. So it appears that Mamelodi Sundowns, let's hope say African dominated West African and Central African teams, will be able to what? To recover their lost glories and start to compete again. And next 4 years, if you at least two, maybe one West Africa, one Central, and access Southern. Na fi nya North Africa ni ba kwa na mienu e de kan ho a I think say we will be able to see the dynamics ni dey eye because Mamelodi Sundowns enya 4 points which is fair.
Yeah.
Which is fair. I think say omu game against Dortmund no man omo anye dey omo anye smart. They were naive. If they were able to be smart, say okay nkofo we ye betime nya draw the fi omo wa I think say commit me ade are progressing their common. So hopefully they will be able to get enough revenue to expand the talent identification here. They are more academy here. They are more improving more to get a lot of quality players in there. Yeah, sure. Other teams no more qualifying so far the teams are more qualify. Are they teams who deserve some qualify? And how the dynamics are going and the tree also the tree better so many share teams ben no more likely some boy room near there. Yan share no so nafi yan kwenem. Yeah.
Yes, I think they share from the way Trinity it benefits some of the teams here, especially so share team beats Chelsea. They are lost against Flamingo, a blessing in disguise for them, because Oshe on the other side, on the tree, maybe a Flamingo, Edana, Obebo Bayern, we had the possibility of meeting maybe Dortmund or another bigger club. And Inter Miami in the Paris Saint-Germain. So that other side of the tree has most of the European teams.
Okay.
With Bayern, Dortmund, with Paris Saint-Germain, Muna. And if you want to get to the semi-final or get to the final, you need to beat at least 2 big European countries and send way to me. But on the other side, maybe a Chelsea, the only European country, and maybe another European country beat me about Man City or Juventus. So now Chelsea will be playing Benfica, who is an European country.
Okay.
Now, Fidie, your friend is saying Palmeiras, any Botafogo, Mubako, Beba Beshiano in the quarterfinal. Inter and Slovenia from Nazi, that is Thiago Silva team, no. And maybe you bet me share either Manchester City or team a friend of Juventus, depending on your better fare. So, you share the three, you name himself competitions and yet performance. But sometimes you bet me a good patch. I could be a bit me a boy more could do final or the semi-final. And you share the way Anyama asset here. The European countries and our countries somewhere PM and say on the tree the fair side no. A better benefit to me if you have to put in a good performance. Because a year's side now maybe top teams or bet me a hard dream or either a net between Man City or Juventus or bet me Raho. Then there will be Inter Milan, there will be Chelsea and maybe Benfica and Botafogo, which I think compared to the other side no, is a more easier route than the other side. But bet me a chair on how the teams, the Brazilian teams and super performance bet me a coin. But the most sad part is on that side, one Brazilian team is in Nyonko. So the 4 Brazilian teams are with me at the round of 16. No. Bakube in Nyonko ewo. Then Flamingo bet me nya kwan say on the Bayern Munich beko 2-2. After I do bet me nya. If they can able to defeat Bayern Munich, then they will raise a lot of question marks on how they can perform against team Efreno, Paris Saint-Germain or Inter Miami. Osha Dortmund in so on also ebenya an easier game kakra in Montreal by who Montreal performance in this tournament. The way on 8 teams they call boot to boot. The likes of Dortmund, Ombe imagine say they will go more physical against Dortmund and beat me on Dortmund side. So I wouldn't be surprised seeing 2 Brazilian clubs getting into the quarterfinals of this FIFA Club World Cup, and the Europeans there. I'm seeing 1 or 2 would miss out.
The South Americans.
The 2 South American clubs, I think Botafogo would worry Palmeiras, because of the way they set up and the way they play. I'm tipping Botafogo to get into that quarterfinals. Flamengo Bayern Munich would be a very difficult game for them, but the way Bayern Munich set it up, Flamengo can really worry them. They are more. So
physical. You are tipping
Flamengo to be able to get a chance against Bayern Munich.
Okay.
And that is the 2 I made tips said they can get into the quarterfinals. The rest, that is Feminese. I'm not sure they can go toe to toe with Inter Milan because of Inter Milan performance. No, but I think they would also do their best. European clubs, so between Chelsea and Benfica, Bakobe may say out of the quarterfinals. But I'm seeing Chelsea getting in there, Inter Milan getting in there. Dortmund, depending on how they can match the physicality of Montreal for. If they can't, then they will be eliminated. Then the likes of Paris Saint-Germain, European teams, I'm seeing like 4 also getting into the quarterfinals. We'll see how it will go from there. But I think the Brazilians will put up a big surprise, especially the South Americans. They'll put up a big surprise in this tournament. And we'll see 1 South American team in the semi-finals of the FIFA Club World Cup.
Okay.
Yeah, Listo. I think say the draw now abana. It's not complete yet because 4 teams are maybe filling in the slots no. And these 4 teams, Juventus, Manchester City, Real Madrid, and Salzburg or Al Hilal. 2 Ebeko the other side, then another 2 and so about the other side. But looking at draw no, mostly it's being dominated by the teams now, mostly.
Until Yansha had it first. Yes. Yansha the left side. So also man and costume. Into
and the Juve Man City there. Omami need to qualify, and both of them back call left side and back right side. Okay. Qualify, and the game no will decide who will top the
group.
The group.
Into
Omami need to qualify.
With groups no meaning say the obeda first. It would Juventus more no. Ebe call Inter Milan mo side.
Maybe a Chelsea before no.
Chelsea more no.
Yeah.
And now the better second between Salzburg and Al Hilal eba be bo Juventus mo the better first and on the other side ebe ko ha no.
Which means Real Madrid.
No, that means Ali and Salzburg baako.
Al
Hilal. Any Salzburg baako ne be share, that is either Juventus or Man City or Chelsea.
So then I'm saying is the right side maybe Bayern Dortmund one. Real Madrid they were top group ne dada.
Yes.
I mean okay, Onya share Salzburg yet, but if Real Madrid is top group now, whoever will top the group, group H, everybody maybe a Dortmund any Bayern Munich one.
Group G.
Then the better so second group G between Juventus and Man City will come to where Bayern Munich for
now Real Madrid can meet either Juventus or Man City.
Oh yes,
now
the right side,
which makes this side very difficult because we have 2 European clubs including Dortmund, Juventus, and Paris Saint-Germain on one side.
Okay, but over the way of my range tree now.
Yeah, so
as a benefit Chelsea. So here well
yes.
Chelsea because Chelsea benya team papa bia me fan say cream for no be Asia. This is semi-finals.
Yeah.
Either Juventus
and the semi-final clear say Obeshia and European team because Inter Milan Fluminense likely that because of the mami
now I mean crown say when Fluminense Obesa Babishia another European
and make on them mamenye Palmeiras and Botafogo bebo. These are 2 Brazilian clubs and Omami clubs are currently they were all playing the Brazilian league and Ochake Omo league now
of course Palmeiras
yes Palmeiras now Flamengo and then Ochake Omo league table now Flamengo and something about Palmeiras so Palmeiras against Botafogo any game Emma Palmeiras is just like I mean the top 4 team ever be share mid table team but this is a tournament and again Benfica and Chelsea. It should be a game that Enzo Maresca and the boys and the Benfica is a tough game on the board this season. Then again, Inter
But
Milan.
it's better to play Benfica than
Yes.
Inter
Yes,
or
yes.
Man City or.
Say at a tournament because tournament nobody definitely you have to meet the best teams and now watch it. Then Inter Fluminense bebo. Then either the last group never one and so about. Then you look at Fluminense ni Botafogo. We should draw now my na. Say Fluminense ni Botafogo. Whoever wins will come and meet whoever wins between Benfica
And
and Chelsea. That is in the quarterfinals. Now, Inter Milan and Fluminense game. No, whoever wins will meet the Obertoso first in the group G, and then the Obertoso second, or group H. So if Manchester City at top table, no, then Al Hilal at also second, or Man City ebeba Chelsea mo zone. So if Inter Milan, Man City share Al Hilal, City will go and meet Inter Milan in the quarterfinals. Then Chelsea will then be playing against Palmeiras. And now Chelsea will now be playing against Benfica. Palmeiras and now Botafogo. In the quarterfinals. So in the semi-finals, no, Chelsea, that is if Man City and Juventus will definitely beat Al Hilal. I mean, that is in terms of a more form in the pedigree of the club. So definitely in the semi-final, clear that Chelsea might either meet Inter Milan, Juventus, or Man City. These three teams. Chelsea, and you see, meeting them will let you know, say right now you are closer to the
trophy.
The trophy.
Yeah.
And Osha City, Osha Juventus, Osha Inter Milan, you are going to the final. Now let me go to the other side of the draw. Inter Milan. Inter Miami, any PSG, another crunchy, another game that I will not like. Me misses that game. No, Messi meeting the former team PSG is going to be an interesting game. People are saying that they want to see if Nuno Mendes can stop arguably the best player in the football history. That is.
I don't think
Now say on boss our position.
They are saying that definitely Nuno Mendes has to stop Messi. When Timon stop and say we are fairly testing against the goats. So PSG Inter Miami. In fact, PSG arguably in Europe the best team in Europe, despite the fact that Omusu Botafogo no, they are clear favorites in this game. And see list to Flamengo and Bayern Munich. Maybe Flamengo for no Bayern Munich will go into the game because they are aware of what they did to Chelsea. And they will underrate them like how Chelsea underrated. So Bayern Munich against Flamengo, I'm tipping Bayern Munich. So we might get a Paris Saint-Germain and a Bayern Munich quarter-final game. Now, Borussia Dortmund and Montreal. In fact, Montreal for no more experienced players, the more aggressive football, Mexican club, they are very good. But I'm expecting Borussia Dortmund to score them. And also, that is Real Madrid and one of either Man City or Juventus. But of the other side. So Madrid will play against one of Juventus or Manchester City. So Real Madrid, Dortmund, if they beat Montreal, it's either they are going to meet either one of Real Madrid and I say Man City. And it means that Madrid so a bit Dortmund about so shares our permutation now. If PSG wants to go to the final, they have to beat Bayern Munich. And they have to beat either one of Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid, Man City, or Juventus. Now, Chelsea so-called final, no, Medical Canada. So right now, no, we are getting closer to the exciting games. And then whoever will win the final, no, or the MetLife Stadium, no, will depend on how you are going to play your semi-final, your opponent, and about the quarter-finals, and how over approach it. The prize money, you don't see the clubs complaining. And anyone who said there's been a flyer, people are saying, so Chelsea at your Mokamonikoto, Abranton, Liam Delap, because of the price, the participation fee of Monya in excess of over $30 million USD plus the number of games are Omar Winnie.
Now Chelsea in 35.5 million.
Yes, but yes.
Now.
And you see, apart from that money, whoever goes all the way. Because listen, there's another you has say, wow, we do quarterfinals, and I want to try and see if meet him about and also far the sporting performance pillar no emfa to so mami. You know say ska no FIFA say omo che 1 billion.
Yeah.
1 billion no I is a ska omo chama all the clubs. E move 525 no. The participation fee, and this is the money you are going to get per wins and per how over reach every stage. Anybody can say, oh, we need one game of group stage $2 million. Over draw $1 million per club. Now, so what's me called the round of 16 $7.5 million.
Imagine say any of the allies and
yes.
Almost 20 million.
Yeah. Udu quarter finals, you will get another $13.125 million. Udu semi-final, that is an additional 21 million. And what do final keke no? That 30 million no, Liam the lab price tag. What do final keke no? We be saying additional 30 million. Then we near no one 40 million. So would that so 40 million.
So that is no we money part of the participation fees.
No participation fee na
you
can.
What
when you Udu stage the participation fee na
if
Chelsea gets to the semi-finals, who calculating in
okay. Right now.
So we need 2 matches.
Yes, so we need 2 matches. That is 4 million plus.
No, do round of 16.
Round of 16. Obenya 7.5 million. I can 35. I can almost the 35 million. So right now, okay, can almost be 40 something.
No, I'm looking at the participation winning.
Round of 16.
Okay, you participation or the participation fee.
No, you calculate participation. And then you wins.
And sincerely super sorry. Any participation fee. Now, in Chelsea we need 2 games.
That is 4 million.
That is 4 million. And Chelsea being 7 can one. They are going to almost 11.5.
Yeah,
11.5 million. That is only from reaching the round of 16. If they are able to beat Benfica.
No more drew.
Chelsea being 13 million.
Arsenal 24 and 25.
Okay.
That is another money. If they are able to reach the semi-final, I'm saying another 21 million.
That is
40 something or no.
Okay.
Reaching the final alone, not 30 million.
So almost 70 plus.
So whoever will go all the way to win the final is entitled to 125 million US dollars. And that money, you bet me are spending it lavishly in the transfer market. So there is a reason why at least to some of the big clubs, especially Madrid, Bayern Munich, and Chelsea, they are not even complaining. In fact, Madrid alone is not even complaining about say about tournament, none of the players, any particular break. Some of the players because of the money involved.
Okay, right.
But there are rumors say there's a rumor say where Florentino Perez are promising Madrid players to say if they can win this tournament, every player would get $1 million as a fee for them because they will be making almost 140 million from it, you know. So and we think Vicente, the clubs are not complaining because a free.
Because the weather condition no. And these are free money.
So I don't think squad could do 40 players.
Most the entire teams now. Why am I here? I'll be in terms of complete football, total domination near there. Ultimate obedience on our budget.
Okay, from both sides, senior tournaments, who the way Inter Miami starts here, any the way of me improving. Tournaments, so all the teams, group stages, actually, when you look at you predict them wrong. Because they be more, they didn't start weather conditions now, they are now adapting. The baby, some would be able to perform so well. But say, I may tip up to the member said the semi-final. I'm looking at Chelsea getting through to the semi-finals from the top side. Then either Man City or Juventus, depending on why a best joining or Momo side. So the semi-final from that side can be Chelsea, Juventus of Manchester City. And on this side, I'm tipping Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid semi-final. From there, I think the final can be between Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain. I think every Chelsea fan that would be the dream to be able to see how Chelsea would play against Paris Saint-Germain in the final and how they can perform.
But with what I've seen so far, obviously, Rebecca see a group stage in the dynamics now there, but still, what they are presenting to us, any agents with their way. I don't see Dortmund convincing. I don't see Bayern Munich convincing. Inter Milan are not convincing at all. Name team are very convinced. Juventus.
Yeah, they've really surprised
Manchester City. Maybe we because the Manchester City, the teams they face
whack, and even whack, the number of chances that whack it to me created against Man City was something else against RN. So maybe their test against Juventus today, where I think it's Juventus now, who total dominance, total scoring, and I don't know, so almost time no mobile matches in the year, but almost now you can clearly see that the players are suffering at some point, almost all the teams.
Yeah.
But Juventus spend a man who almost say they are not. Maybe they have a new coach, and coach they just almost person because transfer window now close. The coach have opportunity to sack certain players and buy new players.
Yeah.
So the players are impressing. They are trying to impress him. So who body language and they said they want to impress him. This Conceição are playing some wonderful football. Defense and they are doing so well. They have a very good goalkeeper. So I'm tipping them. Say if they get to the final, I will not be surprised. Then maybe PSG. But the way Botafogo for a year or more, I'm going to say if Botafogo can only come out to a chum, normal worry will say they are. Then European teams now they can defend the entire game. No? When you meet them, what will happen? So almost to mention that this competition mention that, and even commonly Los Angeles for now Seattle Sunday no boy. I want to Seattle Sunday. Almost say two. Yeah. They struggle a lot in that game. So almost it appears that we are not so here there. Disturb you money at the other. But me the team I mean who say almost show complete football. Juventus. Yeah. So Yansha transfer news.
Me met PSG too. I mean currently they are the team I mean who say whatever situation they will get in, if Luis Enrique feel they are the best players in that very game, however you defend, they will score you. The only year Inter Milan they can do to any other team, especially a league. They can make Madrid, but then Alonso and Shedenya team not together yet. They are still gelling under him, still trying to get how he wants to play. But for me, I mean the only team that I think that performance-wise they can win a PSG. But to be very honest, if Chelsea win,
okay. Yansha
transfers.
The transfers no.
Yes, I think in Dry BD in common about Norgard and Thomas Partey, the replacement as now has some the Norgard Baba replace Thomas Partey in their team. But with little information I mean concerning this transfers, they say one thing I asked now for share. At the intimate me renew Thomas Partey contract was just based on salary in Yama, salary conversations. Partey who said this season the performance no was wrong. So at least say Arsenal for team and to the salary more they need to maintain that 200,000 or no general. But they were also looking at Derby. It's either we are trying to bring in more players, so they are trying to reduce it. And Nama negotiation in me and Koye. Looking at Zubimendi also coming in, he's also one player. His salary wages no of him. It's two players going out of Arsenal. Thomas Partey no 200,000. Jorginho was on 180,000. Nti Okamboma that's 380,000 Arsenal to add these two players. But as at now, Zubimendi salary of also Arsenal 80,000. That's double of the Noji Warriors was that he was taking 40 and as your 80,000. Then Norgard no knows who 40,000 or Brentford. Since you know so much an increment of 80,000. Into on a business side, a good businessman Arsenal moving from 380,000 for two maybe defensive midfielders and no more. Now dropping to 160,000. And no Arsenal share. Since you almost said now if they are able to do this, meaning they would have a bigger room to now occupy a striker. So striker no be 200,000 they are okay to do it because it will be at the level of Thomas Partey. Any player, any friend of Jorginho salary in the pepe, and some conversations we cause on. They've been rumors on Benjamin Sesko as of now. On the Instagram page, he's following us now, based on the transfer rumors are causing. So between Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyökeres, Mubako Arsenal will do that signing before the transfer window ends, and financially they are okay with their wage structure, so they can add any of these two players to their setup. A bit me about bomb. With Alvaro Morata.
No, with the quality. With the quality. The business aspect. Now, the supporters and everybody will not care.
They don't care. Yes, that one.
The 3 points, you know. And then you know, say what Arsenal and Ateta I kind of last season to at least
impress or
impress, and we impress, will be to win the league or the Champions League. We share the amount of money or must spend there, and I think they will have to even sign another winger.
Yes.
I think left winger.
Yeah.
Now, I know the obe to my yeah, Obabe understudy with no problem with that. Now midfield horn obi say they brought Jorginho to come and replace Partey. It appears no, they couldn't. He couldn't. They brought Merino. They brought even Declan Rice. I feel they had to have the two players find a way so many the two players say they almost able. What I say now with a year over Zubimendi ne a year no God. Can they do the job that Partey was doing? Because Partey ever joining us in a team when almost started almost compete.
Yes,
we can all agree say or no pebe share team ni mo no and almost started almost compete. So now so our player ni ho that player no yet any ho. Are we certain say these two players can give some performance na Partey earlier than at the Arsenal team?
Yes, we share the way our third person set up that is next season. Or that number 6 ana Partey, Ejuma na Partey man obi obetimi apike ball good on the ball distributing. One thing as Zubimendi dan be omo data we were Zubimendi about picking up the ball, defending well, and in Nyama Bibra he's ahead of Thomas Partey on data. Usha Nogada, he also gives a lot of forward passes than Thomas Partey. In Usha, they are bringing in two players in this contest. It's like they are bringing in two players to replace one. Sana and my team financial side is good for them. On paper, it's also good for them because they are bringing in one young player, one experienced player, one Premier League proven player, and one Spanish player. Arteta, I can say maybe Openasem. So these are two players that they are bringing in at their quality and they'll be able to help the Arsenal team. Jorginho in himself be into the team just to be like maybe a squad player. And
no, they basically wanted him to replace because of almost realizes the player now are building the team around him. No, it drew the important part of the season.
Injury.
Not injury, so now Wobra never then be replacing. No. So in some games, I remember Arsenal against Aston Villa, almost 1-0. That game, Jorginho started. In the first half, Telemans were all over the place. Dominating Arsenal. Partey, I recover from injury. I know be a starting. Jorginho and I there, boy. Message say, a player winning. They lost that game, and because of losing that game, they lost the league. Now the following season, Partey, okay, no, he didn't try that thing again. Now what he wanted to do, he said, okay, the Merino about Partey na so ni team one yen to mention, and the yen more right back.
No invert here,
but he realized to say invert near there. Then Partey ni sa energy no to invert then come back near there. Into so much say was say come ewi ni bo no ma draw. And we realize, okay, now, guy, no, midfield none or so. The moment he did that, they dominated that till say, Edu Champions League time only also against Paris Saint-Germain. And we had the Etron. So this is how important the player is. Well, Zubimendi moving from different league to another league, can he do that work? Because as I said, Napate a control way. Up my pass near that. Need the level of control when to release the pass, how to even pass the ball. Over 5 options. The end also pick. Never team near the movie. This is something na Partey the equal team. Can this player do it?
Ebano passing range, Ebano finding players. Yes, I think Zubimendi that level, but maybe experience-wise on to Thomas Partey.
Okay.
But now that level of experience. The only thing I think Arsenal would miss out from Thomas Partey, that player who gets just at the edge of the box and wait for balls. Arsenal nya a lot of benefit from Thomas Partey. There were games that he just stood there, born one time a share, and Wetima pass the ball into the post a bomb. Zubimendi wouldn't give you those goals. On the Jumani, staying back, controlling the game, and performing so well. All right. So Eban has scoring goals. Now Thomas Partey is ahead of him. But Eban said the normal rule and not Thomas Partey distributing the balls, making sure say he finds his players. No maybe to me a progressive ball ni no. Zubimendi will give you that. Norgard is about team no. Norgard inclusion here more of a bit of time. They will need to rest Declan Rice. Norgard beats me Ashimama. That box to box presence now Rice Mount. So I think the two inclusions no. Player to player wise, yes. Ometimi aye a lot of.
In terms of more height, the height because you know Arsenal rely on
height,
the height of the players.
And I think height wise, also Ebema a lot of question marks. We Zubimendi more shorter than Thomas Partey. And now Norgard any Partey, I don't think it's a distance, but Partey be wasing kakra. So that is also one thing that they are looking at. But I think Arteta going into next season, he's looking at more of. May relieve you of a lot of pressure and also move the ball faster. Because last season, even though they were one of the best teams with set pieces, or multimission goals from set pieces, but they were one of the worst teams conceding goals from set pieces.
Yeah.
It is one thing that next season, or say, Sani set piece tricks, me I forget, and don't me fan attention be into so, but bear more of someone moving the ball faster. Spain in the semi-final, Zubimendi had the ball from their half. Possess a ball now, passes a share the final goal. So that is one thing that he would bring into the team to replace Thomas Partey.
Yeah, used to. I think say check the signings are Mikel Arteta. Yeah, to me I think that they've done a very good business, and the signings no more about a short term and about a long term. You see, Thomas Partey leaving Arsenal 2 years ago. Before Monday, Jorginho, but Mikel said he said they didn't want to renew the contract of Thomas Partey because I check here. The previous seasons are more getting closer, but they know that if they miss Thomas Partey, they seems very difficult to how coach Besomon and so there's a reason why they brought in Declan Rice. But Rice when he was at West Ham, he was a defensive midfielder, no noble. But Rice they found ways and means because Partey age Partey Omuti no about right back there.
Yeah.
They had several ways and means Partey about more the quality that he as a player or and then they almost if Thomas Partey is not in our team, maybe Declan Rice but we need that ball controller, that registrar now
controlling the tempo of the game.
You decide, and then they Zubimendi and they will Spain national team now. The UEFA Nations League, one and number 6 month was Martin Zubimendi. He is a player fit for that role. A Spanish player known for that typical and that style of football. But now, when you have is used to anytime Biano, if players standing a contract, it's either team area or the player with I say with Jackson Palmer. They had 5 years, but the Chelsea team were rewarding them because of how they performed. Some specific tax into Modern Albono, ye more chediana, ye more gifts into ye better extend your contract by 2 years. Next can the money at home. But now, Thomas Partey, you cannot say as a club, say Partey Bono Obono, he's not an integral part of Arsenal team. For the previous 3 seasons, say anytime a Partey be Prebian, Arsenal seems to struggle. And you know, Obi say Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes, any defender you free France, William Saliba. Yeah. So if Upeso is standing Thomas Partey, that £250,000 or signing 5 years ago or 6 years ago, no, Unka say right now, betting is so. It's either you increase it to 300,000 or maybe as far as 280, and Arsenal are not willing to pay that for Thomas Partey because of the age, and they are also planning for the long term. Now, Zubimendi, a player for the past 2 seasons, Liverpool for nature is one of the best. Young midfielders. In fact, he's 26 years. One of the players, in terms of that role and that style of play now, he's been an integral part of the Spain national team. And then, let's not forget.
He is not an integral.
No,
he's a replacement.
Yes,
Rodri.
Always for the past 5 years, anytime beyond.
Oh, of course, I'm a friend. But then, if Rodri is there,
yes, that one. They are even matches Omobo Zubimendi and Rodri Boma. That is when Abia Fabian Ruiz or player Arsenal for Cotoni, Mikel Merino. So Arsenal Ekofa Mikel Merino by now. Arsenal can decide say and they Declan Rice good with the ball. Maybe he on to control it, but or no the ball man he can beat the press. They also have Mikel Merino who's also good in the ball. The reason why did not guard so they not guard and Thomas Partey Premier League record average in the better Swamamia. The reason why did not guard ban say on say Jorginho ko and bringing Zubimendi no adaptability anytime you make us no they already want someone already made for the Premier League games say Zubimendi banner in fire. We have Norgada. He can kickstart. We have Norgada. Obetima kickstart anytime we are with Rice and Merino and as Martin Odegaard. And no check it Partey any Norgada. Games played. Partey about a lot of games saying. But I check the number of successful passes. Partey 55.4 and Norgada 77.7. Pass accuracy. Partey 87 and Norgada 85. Successful long balls. Partey is 0.6 and Brandon did Norgard is 0.5.
So more comparison there. You can't compare.
Oh no, and Namecho say Norgard is not at the same level as Partey. But look at one player in the Premier League with a close marking and as with a close start like Obi to say Thomas Partey. He is up there. Apart from the passes, in terms of say the ball playing, Partey a good saying. But let's come to the friend saying the possession one. Let's come to the tackles and the interception parts.
So no, there you can agree, sir, because of team no born. Most of the times they will have to defend, so they will tackle more near there. But also, when you move
that is how someone also comes say that Partey is playing for Arsenal. Check the number of passes and how he controls the ball. If Norgard also comes into the Arsenal setup, he can also improve any passing. On say the tackles, you may mention about how team now born set it up. And in fact, Norgard, who checking the scouting reports, he's one of the players that modern day defensive midfielders. He is not on fumble with ball. No. He doesn't fumble with the ball. And you know how Declan Rice at West Ham, Oba Arsenal, how Oba improve, especially when the ball carrying. So Norgard no is going to help Arsenal, but on a long-term replacement for Arsenal. The long-term replacement and then Martin Zubimendi.
Not replacement for Partey.
Okay. And then Martin Zubimendi. But they are bringing in Norgard to also kickstart say their statistics in Zubimendi Nyamuzwa. We have someone already made for the Premier League. Intensity and energy already Omolusu Jorginho. So they are replacing Norgard which comes at a cheaper cost 11 million and then or 40,000 Brentford, right? Wajia cost 80,000. Wajia cost 100,000. And there's women is 40,000. Also, I cost 100,000. So they're replacing Thomas Partey, even if Jorginho clear free system. Once a Jorginho replacement cry Mikel Merino for a year. They are replacing Norgard and Abraham is Zubimendi with Thomas Partey. And this players don't replace him. Thomas Partey salary now I 250,000. Is even that salary margin can even pay these two players. I'm say Sankra may be aka. I'm the Kokoma goalkeeper so I think that whatever Arteta is doing, he doesn't have any excuse. Right now, what more my aware say he likes Benjamin Sesko more than Victor Gyökeres. So they are trying as much as possible to do. But I didn't say Sesko no, he wants to come. But Scana, I believe the funny but Arsenal didn't want to pay. Now, if Sesko bad or a lot of angles, so almost Sesko, he can still play Kai Havertz as the number 9. And then they Arsenal going forward, they should know say there's no Omaya for 5 years. Oma Tosso second. They should try and win silverware.
And yeah, no more reason why they should have maintained at least Partey for one season.
Yes, and
bring a striker because it is obvious. Adia lucky from this team. Whole team, no, yeah, all striker. These years, striker be at least out and out striker. Obetima will be 20 goals. Any other day. And yeah, no, the more reason why now say be a woman Partey 1 year. Bring a striker in there. After 1 year, we are not got a year very simple. You are even still bring these two players. Whilst Partey is still there. Senabaya, whilst he is there, then more replacing Kakra.
Wage structure.
But you see, Osonfa,
so you are gambling for 1 year. You want to, because you see, if
Sir, because you name say position be anywhere difficult to replace in football than defensive midfield. We know what happened to Real Madrid after losing no, even in Makelele.
Okay.
They struggle hard to say Mourinho ebenya ayidema omo. Kadira. Then since that time, look at how they've been able to replace them.
Yeah.
Now Chelsea, football heritage. The reason why you see Chelsea competing at every point in time, then say Chelsea defensive midfielder. Making sure say team they have a defensive midfielder by the way. Hema United, after losing a airport schools, or retire, almost like a friend by or by an Major League, since they lost him. Look at what has happened to them. The last time maybe they came close, second winning the Europa League is when they had what a defensive midfielder Yana Carrick and Azem Matic ni Pogba. It was short ball, but be a difficult to replace a defensive. And how Partey has been so critical, and also how important Partey is. Look at what almost left back here of Man City. Look at how he describes him. Also, what money didn't be cry. Or money did. How this is, and even Declan Rice. Declan Rice now a fan is on replace Partey. When he was eulogizing Partey, look at the words he used to describe him. So it appears that you are coming to gamble because you have a player or Barber joining the Premier League. You name the physicality, the intensity between the La Liga and in terms of the technical ability will be undoubted. But in terms of the physical aspect and the intensity aspect, that is where. So you are coming to gamble at a crucial stage of career as coach. Our club now, Ukraine.
Yeah, listo. You see, in football, at a certain point in time, you have to replace. You gamble. You have to replace. And you see, Partey there no. Nanka ese bianca Partey contract. Partey is expiring this month. In the right now, Partey was for England. He's training with Saliba. And there were posted video on Snapchat. Or England says or need Timba mo Arsenal moye. And it looks likely he will move. Go contract no. Because and I'm almost money can especially send a wage no. Or you 250,000.
It doesn't matter. He brings the quality.
That is why
you don't have any problem when he's there.
And the team that's what I say. And they said Osonfa Zubimendi any party there's no
they say you cannot.
And they knew that and I'm mentioning you see there you lose another player, but another player will also come in with a certain type of quality. And no check is Zubimendi any party record, especially last season. Playing for Real Sociedad and Partey playing for Zubimendi no, they seem say if on team by the highest level to say Thomas Partey, he can offer you whatever Partey is offering you. And on game now, how Arteta setting the team about two pivotal midfielders, which are basically two defensive midfielders. Back a ball carrier and a back controller on bedding or bet the ball. Zubimendi coming in, check here in terms of key passes, progressive passes, duels, defensive actions, ball carrying, forward passes. Last season, no check it in the numbers against Thomas Partey or Vincent Thomas Partey. But the thing is, they are replacing one key player. Omofili said, or a very key player for them. And the circumstance surrounding the contract extension, they couldn't agree. So there is a reason why they are bringing in Norgard, who's also 30 years. Because I think rebuilding, I only 31 years, not the year day. But they also want somebody.
So just the more reason why you are bringing two players and say you are not too sure.
But you are not even scared. Even when Thomas Partey was there, they brought in another player who was a ball controller.
Chelsea getting rid of.
They used to work on meeting. I said they've tried to replace this player
several times. Yes. So let him be there. Maybe Zubimendi, bring Zubimendi. Let him be there. Understand it. So you know, say season next started as Zubimendi next started. Zubimendi born a fape. You know, say Partey is going the next season.
And list of mention.
What I say
at this moment, among Richie Baby, they've tried as much as possible.
No. I'm off. I said they wanted to reduce.
Yes,
it. Nobody does that.
Already.
Yes. And a key player of your team.
And the Drew Baby, they feel like they want to. I mean, that in position, they want someone because you can extend Thomas Partey contract for 1 year or 2 years.
1 year, you just give him 1 year.
1 year, no. But they also feel like you must have 1 year.
And you what you feel?
No, football is a plan. It's about what the club feels and what you the player wants. So that is why you find an agreement. If the me pay, who player no, you don't like her, then it means that's why we cannot reach an agreement.
But when you say we can deliberately give you something, we can deliver because you see extending players like Patemo by 1 year, it is not a difficult way. Yes. And Patemo will be if or 200,000. Now all they go 250 for 1 year.
He was even willing to take that 200.
200 now. It just say you don't want you see there is yes.
The
he was
only
willing
issue
to
was say
almost here then.
And
the
conversation around this is I say yeah dropping it mean more room for other people.
What I say and now one thing say me I still feel say yes anyway now hanging a con na say pressure groups no ka say na asna ye so that they think say okay there is the opportunity to let him what to let him go. But utie ateta ankasa say they want in a press conference for a coach to say they are hoping to what to get Partey extend the contract. No, just from the coach point of view, he wants him. Now about the business aspect, the sporting directors and the technical directors, negotiations. No. So if you go there and you go and give a player, say what your experience, I will show we now. Yeah, bro, contract extension. I say, you maintain scare them out. What does it mean? A say, yeah, and I make us say, Partey is somebody. I say your players be one man. Say be our Chelsea. Maybe I no ni Madrid. I say, more extending me contract, more mommy ska 250. Mummy 250. Not Chelsea. I just to me. Chelsea, Kupa must be costing no mummy 250. Chelsea, but somebody like Partey. If or you extending the contract by 1 year, near man 50,000, they can't. 200,000 no now. Saka will not complain. All the key players will not complain because they know say this is a guy who deserves it. The reason why Omunina Subebase more money Skakasi say young a player will undeserve it. So maybe point I maybe can say I'm not saying say at no point I was say Unya replacement. Say Chelsea here rebuilding. They had opportunity to have Kovacic in N'Golo Kante anyway. They decided to clear all of them and replace them. At some point you will do that. But my point is say at this stage, my project no, I can't 1 year. Obian himself my project no, I can't 1 year. Nah, project no, I started the AC in Tracy. Right? So you leave the settings, especially look at what they did to Real Madrid and where they got to in the Champions League. You know say the Akoma the striker no. I'll bet my mom 20. So why don't you bring the striker? Keep Partey, bring Zubimendi, so may replace Jorginho. Jorginho, no, just saying.
180. So that
180. You are giving 180. No, well, 180. No, oh the 50 Partey the no jedada no. Now the 80 ama Zubimendi. Oba be understudy Partey. Then you bring your striker. How a person or bring your striker. Then you are good to go.
But I mean, so do baby, I'm going to say Arsenal for now. Sometimes it's not just about the finances. In Yama for first and we.
Say when
Sesko coming to Arsenal, Sesko wouldn't request for 200,000.
No,
a bear between 120 to 180.
No, Sesko deal was about the fee.
Leipzig.
And I want to say, teams
wouldn't press their wage structure, so you can
teams
still keep Partey.
Teams they know say. With the transfer fee, no, they know how to go about it. And look at the significant. Books mo. Idea yes significant. Way share the wage structure no. And no teams ni na very careful.
Because with Zubimendi, they say next one to 50. The next one to 60. But Arsenal so be to more. Send you benya more windows.
Yeah,
within 4 years.
You want to
10, maybe 10
and 20, which is normal.
But I don't think says Zubimendi Sesko Bernard so be 200 and the only player maybe Obeba Bernard say he will take more be Victor Yokres.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a send at least to work on. Wait him to Zubimendi aba. Forget about Norgard, keep Partey.
Yeah.
Keep him on his 200,000 input. I think he's okay. Now the Zubimendi aba be 80,000. You get an extra 100,000.
Yes, you bring the striker. By next season, what replace Partey with Obeba. But well, let's see how it goes. Maybe for me, I think it will come back to hand them. Because I've seen time and now AC and watch Chelsea. Aqua we pra Chelsea to me cover 5 games. Or return ya make any West Ham. Or buy no be heady go be overhead ya or she go be ordering sabon and mama so. It is that position very 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 critical. The level of intelligence I be here. Anyhow a Premier League in it any adeno. we hope that Zubimendi will not be bullied, because Premier League, you know, you can be bullied. Guy no more fan is only replace Rodri, no. On the Omode no. Nico go the way Omode no. So that's the Premier League for you. Mama yen share the games no na yen fire us and Branafi. Yen sorry so.
Yes, and there's a crucial game, European game between Juventus and that is Manchester City. The bit me other first group we know. It be an easy route into the final.
Okay.
It's a crucial game, Papa.
You be lead the top.
The lead the top. The baby D. That is the first table near my with Chelsea side, no, which is an easy route, especially for a club between these two teams. Their last 3 meetings between these two clubs, no, one thing is Juventus a bigger upper hand over Manchester City. Into only Manchester City on the last 5 meetings, 2 are ending in a draw. Man City on 3 occasions, including December year or Shano. That is 2-0 to Juventus against Man City or 1 and I say a kind of competition, no team are dominating at share total strength Juventus. So this fixture be I'm tipping Juventus, giving a big tax for Pep Guardiola and Branton. So today we'll see a good lineup between both teams. Send Pep Guardiola in 2 games or season lineup. Today he'll go with his best lineup. Into now a Man City fan up, so who team and bet him that starting next season and then a bit me actually.
March in the time then.
On the born is 7.
Okay.
Yes. And this will be one fixture. Juventus for Bayern Madrid say they need to dominate well. This competition, no matter a lot of goals. But this game, I'm not tipping we seen a lot of goals. Into this game, both team to win at the back, it will be one option to go for, because likely one team will be able to win. Okay. Yes. And about goals are I'm tipping an under 2.5, under 3.5. They'll be very solid, especially going forward. What a mistake I consider first home bet you, because the first spot I'm kind is available for who will get the easiest route. So a good game. I think it will be one of the best teams, one of the best games ever. Work and they are in game on the work and they possibility says so multimillion 2 million and the beefy no multimillion, because the African contingents need no be into open no munya, and in this game their performance will be so good because of a game scoreline in yashi you know. I'm seeing both teams coming out to play so well, so both teams to score likely to play in this game, and I work to win. I'm tipping them to win because everything is backing them to win this game. One year in games because Pachuca and Aliyad. This will be a crucial game. Yes, it will be a crucial game for them because and they Mumpai Buna is a team we are seeing team Salzburg here pan Real Madrid.
So on Sherry Madrid.
On the big team out team Salzburg pan Madrid. Or Salzburg either so share 5 or share 4 or share a high score line. Into a name omunim se kwan bia Real Madrid be Salzburg. Into say ne ono so ne Pachuca ontimi nya a point in this group. So Timinya a good point, 3 points against them. Otiminya a good point and a good score liner. Even though says a Salzburg team Real Madrid Bodra, they can qualify ahead of them. And it's something
like then Pachuca for Hilal.
No, Hilal for.
Okay. Because so Hilal must win
comfortably
against Pachuca.
Because we here our 0 goal difference. And now Salzburg L+1. They will just
when I say
to qualify ahead of Salzburg. This fixture be I'm tipping Lehard to win, and also over 2.5 are likely to play, because the match tournament say they can play against good teams. Only Salzburg they created a lot of chances.
They should have won that game.
They should have won and they didn't win. Salzburg and Real Madrid send them the kind balls win their win. Real Madrid the team be a team of Salzburg pie or Mutimichi and their last meeting on the Salzburg boss 5-1. Likely would say Real Madrid be winning good, but performance at Salzburg than they did in this tournament. You know, a man who said their team they come out to play, they don't sit back, they come out to play to be a very good test for Coach Efeni Jabi Alonso.
Or more defender be 18 years.
Yes, I think
Salzburg.
We send Omuni we game the cry. He got on a yellow card. Short be.
Debbie all need height here
very good.
6'5".
Because me
only way ball difference between them for Fafana.
Okay.
Solid defender of PSG academy and I was joining as a knock on under 17 refinity. Ne body way I even posted him against Omoni Hilal. Charlie, and I'm saying hey, Chelsea sporting directors Omunhunana, since they want a right centre back or ne way ball near penal. Or ne Fafana game near penal. And yam one say by the close
Okay,
of
me who Gado.
Gado. Yeah.
18
years. Solid defender. And Obi over here game ni and I think the Real Madrid will be a big test.
Yes,
for
a big test for him. Yes. I think this will be one game and Real Madrid needs to win and qualify. Almost so say they can get an easy route into the final tournament. The say getting into the final.
You Madrid beat member Chelsea side ho.
Do they be Madrid Becca?
Okay.
Madrid Becca. It's either Man City and a Juventus back on the Chelsea side over Madrid Becca. Madrid.
I said you're better to
and
you're better to second Madrid more group no.
Everybody
so if Madrid fails to score Salzburg not to second, he will come to.
No, say Madrid. Who share the performance?
Or 4 points.
Yes, but against meaning say
that me say if he fails to score.
Salzburg social because 6 points. 7.
Now for the
Hilal social
we knew no be 5. Na Madrid
Ephraim.
So Madrid
style
me say if he fails to score. There is if match on Salzburg or draw or 5 points. Salzburg high Hilal share Pachuca or 5. But in terms of first I'm determined with head to head so Madrid would someone can say if Madrid fails to score Salzburg na
score no win and answer them
say win if
say when win na Hilal so win Madrid the free.
Yes, that is what I can say. Also I don't say there's no way Madrid be bad that side. I mean man scenarios Madrid beats me about the
no there's no scenario.
There's a scenario.
Okay, the scenario is unless Pachuca
even Otosu second in that group or about the Chelsea
lane. See Madrid
Kwambes na be fa so obekọ second obetosu second.
That is if Obodraw na Ahila win. Even Obodraw compare he will even social Ahila and Obodraw.
So Madrid Obodraw goals. See Madrid Obodraw obeo 5 points with plus 2 goals. Na Salzburg with a draw no so be 5 points plus 1 goal.
Okay.
It meaning say Pachuca lose by maybe by 3 or 4 goals. Na Hilal akwa that first. Na Madrid about that second. But Madrid didn't mean gamble. Depending on the way Salzburg is to be the game Liverpool. Because you see, and so you just make a board draw. Not last minute or shower.
It's not about board draw. You see, now you have a conversation, and I'm trying to say, at least what I say, can Madrid come to the Chelsea side? And I mean, Chelsea scenario, Madrid beats me about that Chelsea side. We can get either Juventus or Man City. So if I'll be back Chelsea lame ho, and I'm Chelsea. If Oman Manchester Salzburg in there on board draw, now I Hilal share Pachuca by 2 goal margin. Madrid will be second in the group. Definitely, Al Hilal ever caught the Bayern PSG side.
Madrid Benya plus.
It's not about +1. Madrid but say Al Hilal winning by 2 goal margin.
Madrid points is saying.
Or 4.
Or 4. Until about draw be 5.
Al Hilal winning by 3 goals and bet me after that first. Madrid by that second.
Is that Al Hilal?
But Madrid no. Madrid one thing is say
Madrid share Al Hilal. Board draw no share Al Hilal. That is what I mean sure say. Al Hilal no minimum scenarios it's not about set game. We don't know how the game will end. But I'll check the group now. Madrid were 4, Salzburg were 4, Al Hilal were 2. Madrid were plus 2 goals, Salzburg were plus 1, and Al Hilal it was 0. If they win a 5, which means that Madrid in Salzburg game in the draw, they will be 5, but Madrid will have plus 2 goals. Salzburg will have plus 1 goal. Then Al Hilal. So if or share Pachuca 2 or 3. Or no so all these things be 5 points. So the situation whereby Madrid better so second. Maybe the answer is Madrid and me and share Salzburg. Now Al Hilal winning by any margins of goals. Now Al Hilal and a defense that there are probabilities that even though Salzburg able to match Madrid, then Al Hilal cannot even score Pachuca. Still Madrid can still be the second team. That's something because if they fail to score Salzburg, they can still come to that lane.
Okay, but no, she said out of everything on qualifier, it's either Juventus or Man City.
Also,
that second Obeshi or Muba.
Oh yes, so that one too. Say Obeshi. Yeah, me slips for the day no. There. Match review.
There be more for in time now.
Indeed, what that AC and Al Hilal game. I think that Al Hilal they should take this opportunity to at least get some 2 million from FIFA Hall. So a win for Wydad AC and over 1.5 goals in that game.
Whack.
Wydad with that AC.
With that, yeah, Athletic.
And I'll end for game no. Me call belt builder. I know 2.83 odds. Juventus and Manchester City. This is a game I remember. Me call over 1.5 goals in that game. Al Hilal and Pachuca. A straight win for Al Hilal. and then Salzburg and Real Madrid. A win for Real Madrid. Code no KKPY.
Okay, nti me option no 7 odds with Juventus Man City under 3.5 and a corners of over 8.5 we Real Madrid and Salzburg. Real Madrid win and over 2.5 for our game. WAC against Ain over 1.5 nti code no QJPY MYBET.AFRICA.
Okay, Median Madrid to score 2, Al Hilal to score 2, WAC and no it's over 2.5. Yeah, 3 games no. Yeah. Enti yenya we so no yemfa show ni nyame adoma ochena ye beba na afi dia kitchen ya dia brem wote team ni nyina anka ya kram